I'm Shep Hyken, and here's what's coming up on this episode of Be Amazing or Go Home. Narrowing the trust gap. Do your customers trust you? Are you sure? Well, the data says the trust gap is wider than you may think. I'll share 10 ways you can close the trust gap between you and your customers, including creating a new leader in the C-suite devoted completely to trust. Digital-first leadership. Have you mastered the concept of social selling? Richard Bliss is here to talk about how you can create an online footprint that guarantees results and even master the LinkedIn algorithm to build your online presence. You don't want to miss it. A tiny cape company with a super big mission. Robyn Rosenberger joins us in the studio to talk about how TinySuperheros are out to change how the world sees the unique challenges some kids face and reveal the superpowers behind each and every difference. It's an extraordinary story. And feeling the need for speed? Well, customers' expectations for speed and responsiveness escalate every year without fail. The amazing quote shows the importance of being fast enough for today's customer. Stick around for this. The research may surprise you. So, are you ready to be amazing? Well, stay tuned for all of this and more coming up next on Be Amazing or Go Home. I'm Shep Hyken, and this is Be Amazing or Go Home, the show that's dedicated to take you from average to amazing. So do your customers trust you? Are you sure? Well, according to PwC's 2022 Consumer Intelligence Series Survey on Trust, 87% of executives think customers highly trust their companies, but only about 30% of customers actually do. And that's a 57% gap. The PwC survey also found 71% of consumers say they're unlikely to buy if a company loses their trust, and 71% of employees say they're likely to leave if they lose that trust. The lack of trust can result in huge problems. Now, another interesting report comes from Deloitte and finds just 19% have a leader in the C-suite to oversee the trust effort, and less than 14% have a way to track trust. So, is there a chief trust officer in your future? When a leader is untrusted, both employee and customer satisfaction decreases. Conversely, if a brand is trusted, revenue and employee retention increase. The goal is to narrow the trust gap. Ideally, you want to eliminate the gap altogether. So here are the top 10 ways to make that happen. Number 1, be transparent. Being open and honest about your policies, delivery times, processes, and more builds trust and confidence with your customers. You want them to know you and know how you operate. Number 2, do what you say you will do. Deliver on whatever you promise. There are many ways to lose a customer's trust, but the fastest way may be to break a promise. In short, a broken promise is a lie. Number 3, provide excellent customer service. Our customer service experience research found that 84% of consumers trust a company or brand more if it provides an excellent customer service experience. Number 4, protect your customers' privacy. Data protection is a hot topic. With all the breaches, customers need to know that you make a great effort to protect any information that they share with you. Number 5, don't abuse your customers' data. That goes right along with protecting your customers' privacy. If they're willing to give you information about themselves, even if it's just payment information and an email address, don't abuse it by spamming the customer or selling the information to others. Number 6, be reliable. A customer expects that what they buy from a company does what it's supposed to do. Products must be reliable and dependable. In addition, they also expect the company to stand behind whatever it sells with the right level of customer service. Number 7, fast response. Customers have different tolerances for how long they're willing to wait for you. When it comes to customer service, fast means meeting a customer's expectations. We'll have more on the importance of speed in the customer experience later in the show. Number 8, be accessible. Start with being easy to reach. Easy to find contact information on a website is important. Hours of operation, at least for the customer service department, must also meet your customers' needs and expectations. Number 9, act on customer feedback. It's one thing to gather feedback, it's another thing to act on it. And once you act on the feedback, let the customers know they were heard. Always thank customers for their feedback and follow up if it's appropriate to do so. And finally, number 10, create a Chief Trust Officer role or something similar to that. Again, just 19% of companies have a leader in the C-suite to oversee the effort of creating trust with customers. We might say those companies with a dedicated trust officer are a step ahead, taking advantage of a somewhat overlooked aspect of customer service. Seems like a great opportunity for any company to step up and focus on building trust and the business that is sure to follow. As a digital executive, having a presence online is more important than ever. You can teach, influence, and lead more effectively with a strong social media presence. Well, Richard Bliss and Bliss Point Consulting can teach you how to adopt social media habits and processes that guarantee results and even master the LinkedIn algorithm. And Richard joins us now in the studio to talk about this and much more. Richard, welcome to the show.
Shep, thanks for having me. I am thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled you're here all the way from San Francisco, the Silicon Valley area, and you're going to talk to us a little bit about LinkedIn. I'm fascinated. People don't quite understand the power of LinkedIn. I've sat through a number of your presentations, so I'm really excited that you're here on the show. Give us a quick little background. What is LinkedIn typically known for, and how did you adopt it to the whole strategy of marketing, selling, and even leading by using LinkedIn?
One of the things that happens with LinkedIn is that it has a built-in bias that people remember and know it for a job site. If I'm looking for a job, I'm going to put my resume out there, right? That's how people see it. But it has radically changed. I always get people to raise their hand saying, okay, how many of you were on LinkedIn today or this week? And then keep your hand up if you're on LinkedIn looking for a job. And almost every hand goes down. What were you doing on the LinkedIn platform? The biggest thing is that LinkedIn today is a business tool. Very different than the other social media platforms that are out there. And that's what really people are starting to recognize is you need to change the way you think about this platform works compared to all the other social media platforms.
Yeah, it's not like Facebook, Instagram. I mean, you post, and you hope for visibility, which, by the way, that's the first thing I want to talk about. LinkedIn for visibility amongst the peers and the people you want to do business with or are doing business with. Powerful. How do you get the most visibility out of LinkedIn? You make a post, what happens?
Great question, because we think about LinkedIn then as like another social media platform, but its business model is driven by subscribers, people paying money for the right to access the LinkedIn platform. Very different. So what happens then is LinkedIn is operating completely opposite of the other social media platforms. When it shares a piece of content, when you make a post, Shep, it doesn't show it to all your connections. It shows it to a tiny fraction of your audience, which is counterintuitive. It then uses the interaction of that audience to the content to determine whether that should be shared on a wider platform. And this is the biggest challenge that people have, is realizing that LinkedIn isn't doing that marketing for them, that they have to make sure that people are engaging with their content early, and then LinkedIn will show it to an audience.
All right, so the strategy that you have taught me is post, and then hope that somebody comments, and when they start to comment, that's worth points, as you call it.
It is. During that first hour that your post has gone live, the LinkedIn algorithm is adding points up based on the type of interaction your post is getting. Likes, like we're trained by Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, are useless. Instead, what LinkedIn is looking for, did your content start a conversation?
Right.
And they're measuring it one way, comments. Did your post drive a conversation? And I got to be clear on this commenting thing. Not attaboy, good job, well done, happy birthday. No, a conversation has to happen where I engage with your content and you engage back. That type of comment is going to tell the algorithm, this is valuable, show it to more people.
So we want comments over likes.
Yep.
By the way, it's okay to like it, but wait till you comment before you like if you want to get the best maximum impact. And then if somebody comments on my post, I shouldn't just say thank you. I should say thank you and add something to it, trying to promote, if I might get more conversation going, but trying to promote the look of a conversation.
Yes, and there's two reasons you're doing that. One is because the algorithm values a true conversation. More than 5 words has to be in that comment. But two, something that's unique on LinkedIn other than the other social media platforms, your comment is being put in front of your audience. So if you just say congrats or thanks, there's no context. You've missed a huge opportunity to market and sell your services and your capabilities in a soft sell. Because if you were to comment, and you were to say, well, this is great, thank you very much, when I have the opportunity of speaking, then you're in a position for people to see your comment in a context that drives your brand far beyond simply getting people to come look at your content.
All right, so first thing is we're getting exposure by creating content that people will comment on and then will comment back, start conversations. Next, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to get into how you actually get business, because you've got a great strategy using comments on people you've never met before to get them to start engaging with you. It eventually leads to a phone call, maybe a sale.
And it does lead to a sale, and I've proven that time and time again. You have a prospect, a target, an executive, or some individual that you want to get in front of, and you have no relationship with them. Go out to LinkedIn, find something they've shared or posted to LinkedIn, and now comment on it. But don't just say thank you or I agree. Add to their conversation. And if you do that with a comment that's, let's say 20 to 25 words, that adds to the conversation. You read the article, you responded, you asked them a question. That will cause you to stand out in such a way that they will come to recognize you, and now that relationship starts to develop. And you didn't have to ask them for the connection request. You didn't have to send them a cold email.
Right, so I'm gonna share a story. You taught me this, okay? Exactly what we're talking about. High-level executive of one of the top Fortune 25 companies in the world, Forbes list, whatever, and a C-suite executive in charge of customer experience. I commented on her comment. She had a stat. Little did she know that stat matched up with one of my stats in my research. I talked to her a little bit about the stat and what we've learned. It engaged in a conversation. I shared, she said something that sounded like it came right out of my book. It didn't, but I said, oh, I wrote about that in a book that just came out 2 years ago. And eventually, I direct messaged her and asked her for her personal address to send her a copy of the book. She was more than happy to do it. Following up with that, guess what I got?
Business.
The Zoom call.
You got the
We
Zoom
haven't
call.
got the business yet,
but
we're friendly now. It's not like a typical sales call. And I made it, I hate those messages that I get. We want to see if there's any synergies between us. That's just spam. So I just love it. You're teaching it. I love what you do. We don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
If you can share one last nugget of wisdom, one idea, what would it be?
To leaders who are listening, your inability to master this platform in today's 21st century calls into question your ability to lead a 21st century organization. Your young people are coming in there and they expect you to have a presence online, and that your online personality drives how people perceive you and your company. Learn to master the tool, and then you'll master your audience that you're trying to influence.
All right, if you haven't taken notes on this show and this interview, I think you're missing the opportunity. Go back, watch it again. Richard, thanks for being on our show.
Shep, my pleasure. It's been great.
All right, thank you. Time now for the amazing app brought to you by Outreach Studios. And this app is disrupting the graphic design industry. Canva makes it easy and convenient to create professional designs and to share or print them. Whether you build a new website or need a custom poster, let your creations shine in the real world. You can easily present, download, schedule, and share your designs, or get them printed and shipped directly to your doorstep. And Canva has templates for absolutely everything, so you can personalize your creations as you see fit. Keeping pace with the new generation, Canva regularly updates its graphic design features, such as adding social media, including TikTok, to its templates. Canva also launched a suite of video creation products to make it easier to edit and publish videos. Its presentation software also was refreshed to bake in video elements so that customers can, with one click, convert their presentations into videos and vice versa. Canva is also built for businesses and teams of all sizes wanting to create and collaborate with premium workplace tools and approval flows. Invite people to edit with you or set your whole team up to manage brand assets, brainstorm on whiteboards, and get those approvals. So, Canva provides all the tools to help build your brand and create better content at a faster pace. All this and much more makes Canva a convenient solution and truly one amazing app. TinySuperheros might be a tiny cape company, but they have a super big mission to make every tiny superhero feel strong, able, and proud of the qualities that make them extraordinary. They've created a truly amazing experience for more than 150,000 kids and counting. And to share how they do it is the founder of TinySuperheros, Robyn Rosenberger, who joins us now in the studio. Hello, Robyn.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
I am excited you're here, and I must tell you, when I first saw TinySuperhero, I'm thinking, is she selling miniature action figures?
Yeah.
So why don't you give us a quick little elevator pitch on what TinySuperheros is all about, significance, and what you hope to achieve by creating this great company.
Yeah, that's a first I've heard this, so I love that. Most people think because we do capes, like superhero capes, that we do cakes.
Cakes?
Like cakes, and we don't do cakes.
Misspelled it. It's
no,
with
they
a
just
P, not a
misheard
K.
it. Yeah, they just misheard it. So we send superhero capes, but really what we do is we empower kids overcoming illness or disability. And we serve kids with any diagnosis from ADHD to cerebral palsy to terminal illness, and we even have an angel squad if kids pass away too early.
Oh my.
And we do this through a cape and through a community. So kids and their families nominate themselves for a cape. We send them the cape, and that is the beginning of their relationship with us at TinySuperheros.
So you send them a cape, and how do you find out? How do you find these kids?
You wouldn't believe this. Most people don't believe me, but over 200 find us a day.
200 a day
find us,
you.
Yeah.
And how many of these kids are you able to serve and send a superhero cape to?
So everyone can get a cape. Because of life, not everyone goes through the final step of getting the cape, you know? But our commitment is if you nominate for a cape, we will give you a code to get a cape in our store.
And you sell the capes, or?
We also sell the capes.
Okay.
And then the way that our business runs is it's a social enterprise, and we run by micro crowdfunding. So it was a noodle on the wall that stuck like 5 years ago, and now it's how we run everything. So a nomination gets a cape campaign, and our ask is for you to share it with your community, because the community we serve has medical, financial challenges that they need to take care of, but often their family and friends want to help them and don't have an avenue, so they can help them by sponsoring their cape.
All right, so I'm going to get this straight and make sure I understand. 150,000 kids you've sent capes to.
Yeah.
How many micro-funding campaigns have you created?
Oh, I mean at least 90,000.
90,000?
So we do 200 a day. And then when they're in our community, they can do it for their birthday as well to earn birthday gifts. So sometimes they're running another campaign during the year.
So tell me, when the average age that gets a cape is?
There isn't an average. We're pre-birth to 21, you know,
Okay.
and everything in between. So
Does an adult ever want a cape?
of course, and we say yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Service dogs get capes. We also give capes to siblings, so we call them their sidekicks, because when something is affecting the kid, it's affecting the whole family. And so the journey that the siblings go on is often overlooked, and we definitely don't want to overlook that.
All right. So I'm a child. I'm sick. Maybe it's a terminal illness. Maybe I have some disability. Tell me how I feel when I receive this cape. What, as a child, am I going to experience?
Most of the time, if they're not a baby, there is some sort of arms up, some sort of running, some sort of flying. There's a lot of association with flying, which is really fun, because when you do have an illness or a disability that's really impacted your childhood, you lose a lot of the opportunities to dream or to imagine. And you're surrounded by people telling you in a way that's trying to be helpful what you cannot do. So you will not walk, they will not talk, You know, they will
You'll
not do
never
this.
hear.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
never do this.
never
They
s-
won't
yeah.
play soccer. And you cut off their imagination. And a superhero cape opens it right back up. And the good thing about kids is they're malleable. So you can take it away, but they can get it right back.
Wow. Is there anything beyond the cape that they experience? Is there any follow-up?
So
to
the
it?
cape is just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Okay, tell me
So
what happens after
we
that.
have a mission program. So we did a survey and 80% don't participate in extracurricular activities, which is really too many not participating. So we have a mission program, and every month you can practice a superpower, and we will mail you a free patch that goes onto your cape. So this month we're practicing our superpower of hope. And we complete an activity, you send us a photo, and we send you a patch. And this is our 5th year. So we have over 40 missions available for our Tiny Superheroes.
Wow, wow. And how do we find out if I want to get a cape to a child, or I want my child to have a cape at TinySuperheros.com?
TinySuperheroes.com. You can also find our large community on Facebook. It's an engaged, amazing place.
I can only imagine.
For families.
But very emotional.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I never knew what I was getting into, and I will never see the world the same.
So as we wrap up here, what gets you excited about? What's coming up in the future about Tiny Superheroes that you are truly excited about?
Yeah, that's fun. So like as a business person, I've been in the weeds for way too long, you know, and I love building things. Like I love that now there's this mechanism that kids can get capes from, and I want to build something new in conjunction with it. But it's a scary transition time, and I have no idea what it looks like exactly. But I'm really excited because I have learned so much on the business side of this, of how to build something, that I'm excited for the next thing to build.
Well, in the little short time that I've known you, it's obvious that you are a person that has a passion for somehow giving back. Even though this is a business, it's really about making impact in the world. And I can tell that this is the kind of thing that gets you fired up. A lot of people say, what keeps you up at night? I think I'm beginning to understand what gets you up in the morning.
You definitely know what gets me up in the morning.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, is there one last nugget of wisdom or information you'd love to share with us?
Yep, I learned it from the very first kid I sent a cape to, and I learned it over and over and over again, that the people that I meet who have the most to complain about, and the most to be angry about, and the most unfair circumstances are the most joyful and gracious people I've ever met.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. And by the way, we call it Be Amazing or Go Home. I want you to stay amazing. I don't want you to go home. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, it's time to hear from you and time to Ask Shep, which is brought to you by Outreach Studios. Now, you can find me anywhere on the web, including these social channels. So use the hashtag AskShep to ask me your questions or share your amazing stories. So let's begin. Jenna Langston works at a digital marketing agency with many other young people, and she asks, well, one of our debates is how to dress in the office or for client meetings. Any suggestions? Well, I believe in some version of a dress code at work. If your office is casual, you need to define casual. Casual can mean shorts and flip-flops to one person, nice jeans to another, and no tie to someone else. So set the base with clear descriptions. But with that said, the best dress code beyond the minimum standard is an office manual. It is to dress appropriately for the situation. If you're meeting with a client in your office or theirs, find out their dress code and dress accordingly. Now add to maybe dress just a little bit better. And after all, you want to create a good impression. So don't mess that up because of the clothes that you're wearing. So next we have Steve Welch, who works for a manufacturing company that makes components for engines. And he asked, is there one thing you can suggest to create a better customer experience? Wow, well, I can answer this question in so many different ways. I could talk about creating the right culture, how your customer support department is set up, and much, much more. But lately, I've been writing a lot about trust, which we covered earlier in the show. When you build trust with a customer, it turns out that you're building an emotional connection that makes customers want to do business with you. Yet trust doesn't come the first time the customer interacts with you. It takes time. Every interaction you have with customers is an opportunity for them to form an opinion. And those interactions should all be positive. It's the consistent and predictable experience that creates trust. So give your customers the experience they deserve, one that builds trust. Well, finally, we have Elizabeth Hahn, who works at a customer support center, and she asks, with new technology, will I lose my job? Well, the short answer is no, and here's why. Technology has changed the way we support our customers. The digital solutions include frequently asked questions and answers on a website, video tutorials, and now there's ChatGPT, which is a conversational chatbot that creates an almost human-like experience. But these technologies can't replace the higher level of thinking and care that people like you deliver. The good news is that digital solutions can take care of easy questions while you take care of the more complicated and sophisticated issues. Now, one last comment about technology taking customer support jobs. I compare what's happening today to the first song played on MTV, which was "Video Killed the Radio Star" by the Buggles. So, did video really kill the radio star? The answer is no. So, are you ready to be amazing? Remember, you can find me just about anywhere on social media, so connect with us on our social channels, and don't forget to use the hashtag AskShep to ask me your question or share your amazing story. Well, it's time now for the amazing quote brought to you by Outreach Studios, and it comes from an iconic film and is certainly timely for today's customer experience.
I feel the need for speed.
I love that. I feel the need for speed. Well, you could switch out Maverick and Goose with today's customers because customers don't want to wait. Specifically, they don't want you to waste their time. If you do make them wait, you risk losing them. Making your customers wait sends the message that you don't respect them or their time. Jay Baer, who we've had on the show before, proves this in his latest study, The Time to Win. It measures the impact of speed and responsiveness on customer experience and loyalty. Now, just how important is speed? Well, Jay Baer's report says 2/3 of customers say speed is as important as price. So with that in mind, here are the top 5 insights from this research about the need for speed. Number 1, speed is the most important component of customer experience and the only one that never pauses or goes backward. Now, calling it the most important component of the customer experience is bold, but consider a key finding from the report. 50% of customers are less likely to spend money with a business that takes longer to respond than they expect. Number 2, age makes a difference. Now, I would have thought that baby boomers, the older generation, would have been more patient, but I was wrong. Baer's research shows Gen Z is the most patient generation. Boomers are the least patient. The point is to know your customers, understand the demographics, and improve your response time accordingly. Number 3, the first company that responds to a customer has an incredible advantage. If your company is the first to respond, you can win the customer's business regardless of price. Specifically, 53% of consumers hired the first business that responded to them. Customers want to make decisions and move on. If you give them what they want, they can skip the hassle and time of comparing you to all of the competition. Number 4, fast response impacts your bottom line. Just as customer service and convenience makes price less relevant, so does quick response or fast service. The research found that customers would pay an average of 19% more for always immediate service, which includes no waiting in line, not waiting on hold, and more. In other words, it's about convenience, and customers put a premium on speed. And number 5. Right now is not really right now. Now, as customers' expectations and their need for speed increase, the concept of right now can seem daunting. But according to Bear, the concept of right now is the optimal amount of elapsed time in every customer interaction throughout the entire customer journey. If that sounds technical, here's a simple way of putting it. Right now is simply slightly faster than what the customer expected. With only 1,440 minutes available each day, customers want to devote as few minutes as possible to waiting, as Bear's research proves. This is so important that people will pay more for it. The security lines in airports are a perfect example of this. People pay for TSA pre-check or clear to receive a more convenient and faster experience in the TSA lines at the airport. Bear's research also makes an important point. If you want a competitive edge in your business, respect your customers' time. Don't make them wait. Respond quickly to their questions, requests, and problems. Find ways to incorporate speed into your customer experience, and you'll reap the benefits of returning customers. Your business must feel the need for speed. Well, that wraps up this edition of Be Amazing or Go Home. And remember, you can find me just about anywhere on any social media channel, so be sure to connect with me on your favorite social channel. And don't forget to use the hashtag AskShep to ask me your questions. Thanks for tuning in. This is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.